On the morning of November 21st, Russia attacked the city of Dnipro, reportedly using a Kedr missile system. Ukraine's main Directorate of Intelligence stated that a ballistic missile launched from Astrakhan region took only 15 minutes to reach its target. This missile system had previously been tested at a training ground in Astrakhan region in October 2023 and June 2024.
Це балістична ракета середньої дальності.
This is a medium-range ballistic missile and a potential nuclear weapon carrier. The fact that they used it without a nuclear payload is a warning sign. It's their way of showing how unhinged they've become. By October, they were supposed to have produced 2 prototypes. They may have made slightly more. Thankfully, it's still an experimental prototype and not in mass production.
That evening, Vladimir Putin addressed the Russian public, confirming the use of an experimental Oreshnik ballistic missile, which is capable of carrying a nuclear payload. Putin's use of nuclear brinkmanship has been a hallmark of his strategy since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine began. However, such threats have only strengthened international support for Kyiv. Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs documented Putin's speech as evidence of aggression and his confession of war crimes against Ukraine.
We call on the nuclear club countries to warn the Russian Federation against threatening the use of nuclear weapons. Putin himself has proved to the world today that he can only be forced to peace. No amount of talking will work. Appeasement has never worked and will not work now. The only realistic approach is peace through strength, restoration of full respect for the UN Charter, international law, and Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. From the statement of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine.
Putin must be confronted despite his threats. This statement was made by UK Home Secretary Yvette Cooper in an interview with Sky News. She emphasized that the West should be prepared for continued aggressive rhetoric from the Russian dictator.
Russia invaded a sovereign state. We have seen the aggressive, blustering tone and response from Putin all the way through this. It's completely unacceptable. We are clear that that sort of behaviour cannot be tolerated, and that's why we have provided the support to Ukraine as they defend themselves against Putin's aggression. Yvette Cooper, Secretary of State for the Home Department, in an interview with Sky News.
Russia's experimental ballistic missile strike on Dnipro will not deter the current U.S. administration from supporting Ukraine. This was stated by White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. She noted that the United States is providing hundreds of additional missiles to bolster Ukraine's air defense. She also recalled that in September, President Joe Biden announced an expansion of military aid to Ukraine, including a new $275 million package. Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh also affirmed that Putin's actions will not hinder continued U.S. support for Ukraine.
We've seen this type of dangerous, reckless rhetoric before from President Putin. What we're focused on is continuing to support Ukraine with what it needs. Ukraine, as you know, has been successful in continuing to push back against Russian aggression. We just rolled out another $275 million package yesterday. You're going to see more packages continue in the weeks and months ahead left of this administration.
In response to Russia's use of the experimental ballistic missile, Ukraine has called for a special NATO-Ukraine meeting next week. Ukrainian Minister of Foreign Affairs Andriy Sybiha announced during a joint press conference with Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Czech Republic, Jan Lipovsky, in Kyiv, that evidence and assessment of the attack would be presented to partners. According to Sybiha, Russia's missile test posed new risks to civilians and threatened transatlantic security. Reported by Bastun Katerina Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.